Haristutihi, Shloka 44. This is the concluding verse. In this concluding verse of Haristutihi, the phala or benefit gained by those who recite the shlokas without knowing the meaning, and the benefit obtained by those who recite with a clear understanding of the meaning of the shlokas and contemplate on Paramatma, this difference is mentioned. So we'll look at the shloka. Itham stotram bhakta janedyam bhavabhiti dhvantarkabham bhagavat padiyam idam yaha Vishnu lokam pathati shrunoti vrajati nyo jnanam nyeyam swatmani chapnoti manushyaha. That is the shloka. The anvayarthaha will be yaha itham idam stotram bhakta janedyam bhavabhiti dhvanta arkabham. That is one word. Bhavabhiti dhvanta arkabham bhagavat padiyam pathati shrunoti Vishnoho lokam vrajati nyaha yaha manushyaha eva san swatmani jnanam nyeyam cha apnoti. Yaha itham, he or she, the devotee who, itham means as has been explained through these first 41 verses, pathati, reads or recites loudly, shrunoti, listens to when being read loudly by others. Idam stotram, all these shlokas of Haristuti, which are praising Bhagavan, praising Paramatma, and are Bhagavat Padiyam, composed by Sri Adi Shankara Bhagavat Padaha. And further, what are these shlokas? They are Bhakta Janedyam. They are praising that Paramatma as Vishnu. And that Vishnu is very correctly or very appropriately worshipped by devotees. So that's Bhakta Janedyam, that Vishnu who is worshipped by devotees. And further, how is that Vishnu? Bhavabhiti dhvanta arkabham. That Vishnu is like arka abham, like the shining sunlight. Shining sunlight for what? To remove the dhvantam, darkness. And what is darkness here? Bhavabhiti. Bhava means samsara and bhiti is the sorrows or the suffering which is affecting the human being. It's filled with so many changing dualities, so many challenges which are very difficult to handle. So there are so many unknown situations which are presented suddenly someday or the other. And so these are the difficulties, dukkha. So the difficulties of samsara is the meaning of bhava bhiti. So that is the fear. Bhiti means fear, but here the difficulties are referred to by the word fear. So bhava bhiti is the suffering caused by samsara. That is the dhvantam, darkness. How can you remove darkness? Only with light. And what is that light? That light is Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is like the shining sunlight which can remove the darkness. That is the fear existing in samsara. The difficulties of samsara can be removed only by that Lord Vishnu. So those who pray to that Lord Vishnu in the form of reciting these verses or listening to these verses as have been uh, explained and taught till now, what is the benefit they gain? These devotees, Vishnoho lokam vrajati. They go to Vaikuntha loka. On the other hand, the other set of devotees, the what we say, Uttama Bhaktaha, Nyaha Yaha, that is, they are the ones who understand the meaning of the verses and then recite. As they are reading, as they are listening, they have a clear understanding of what is being explained in the verses. So, such devotees, he or she who understands the meaning while studying, what is the benefit they gain? Manushyaha, while still living in this human body, in this very same life itself, apnoti, they gain. What do they gain? Swatmani jnanam jneyam cha. They gain the knowledge of the self within the self itself as direct perception that I am that Brahman, I am that Jnana Swarupa. The form of that pure knowledge is Brahman, and that is me. Jnanam is the pure knowledge, and Jneyam is what is to be known is that Brahman. As has been mentioned in the Shruti, Brahmaveda Brahmaiva Bhavati. So the one who knows Brahman as the nature of the self becomes that Brahman. So that is the benefit gained by the devotees who contemplate upon these verses, knowing the meaning. The others, they are said to reach Vaikuntha Loka or go to Vaikuntha Loka, which means they get liberation from samsara by what is known as Krama Mukti. After living in Vaikuntha Loka for some time, and then they gain Atma Jnanam, and then they are liberated from samsara. Whereas the Jnani Bhakta, who knows the self as none other than Brahman, here while still living in this body itself, gains Brahman iti. That is the gains Brahman means gains liberation from the bindings of samsara. Now, with that, Haristuti as such, the 44 verses have been concluded. Now I will give a very brief summary of all these verses. Bhagavad Padacharyaha started with a pratigna. Stoshye bhaktya Vishnu manadim iti. That is the first verse with which we started. In that verse, Bhagavad Padacharyaha gave a vow that I am going to sing verses praising Hari iti. And what is the nature of that Hari? In every verse, subsequently, this question has been answered by Acharyaha. So, in Haristutihi, that word stutihi actually means vichara, an enquiry. So, making an enquiry into the nature of Harihi, Vishnuhu, or Brahman, or Paramatma. And then, that I, who is the enquirer, understands that the Vishnu, into whose nature as a seeker the inquiry was started, I understand that is the nature of Aham itself. So, that Vishnu or that Hari, I am. This understanding is born out of this process of inquiry, vichara. So, Jivatma Paramatma Aikyam, the oneness of Jivatma Paramatma, is established by means of simple expressions in 41 verses. The 40 verses, first 40 verses, describe Nirguna Brahman as the Jagat Karanam, the cause for all that exists. How is that? In the form of existence, Sat, lending existence to all the objects in creation is that Brahman, and then that Brahman is in the form of knowledge, pure knowledge as such. Pure knowledge means that in which the differences of the triad, knower, known, knowledge, these differences merge. The Chit Swarupa, then the Anandam or Anantam, a form of fullness which cannot be increased by addition or reduced. That is, no value addition can be made to Brahman. So, Brahman is of the nature of that fullness. That is the meaning of Anandam or Anantam. So, Brahman is understood in that form. And then further, he explains Brahman as one who is free from the limitations of time, space, and object. Then later, Bhagavad Padacharya explained that Brahman as the I, the nature of I, witness consciousness as Sakshi Chaitanyam. And that Sakshi Chaitanyam existing through the three states of experience, Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, Sushupti Avastha. This was explained. And then finally, he explained Brahman as the imperishable Sat Swarupa, inhering, that is Otam Protam, he said, inhering in and through every experience. And then he explained that Brahman as Aksharam Brahma, that is the imperishable Sat Swarupa, Aksharam Brahma. Yadaksharam Vedavido Vadanti, which means knowers of the Vedas say that absolute reality is Aksharam Brahma. The whole chapter, 8th chapter of Bhagavad Gita explains Aksharam Brahma. And Akshara Brahma Upasana is praised in the Shruti also. So that Brahman I am, Aham Brahma Asmi. This is to be gained. And such a knowledge, how is it gained? That also Bhagavad Padacharya brought out. By living a life committed to Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. And also in verse 41, he said, another sadhana, aid to gaining this knowledge is practicing Ashtanga Yoga as taught by sage Patanjali. Then he also mentioned, how do you gain this knowledge of Paramatma as the truth of the self? With Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogad Avehi, says the Shruti. So that also Bhagavad Padacharya explained. Then in the last three verses, 42, 43, 44, Acharya states the phala, the benefit of reciting this Haristuti. Then what is the essential benefit? The one whom I have been praising through all these verses, which have been composed in the form of enquiry, vichara, that is the nature of me, the I. That Paramatma, I am, Aham Brahma Asmi. In this form, knowledge of the self is obtained within one's own mind. So, this has been the content of all these 44 verses. With this, I conclude this rendition of the meaning of the verses of Haristuti, also known as Harimide. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.